Alright everybody, it's that time of year again. It's TOG season. And I got a new video. This was a fun trip. It was me, my friend Martin, and my friend Aaron. We're heading out of Lynn Haven Inlet here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Yeah, I was pretty excited to go because I had not been able to be going togging very often so far. So getting out there was always something I've been really looking forward to doing. So yeah, you can see here we're about to get up on plane. We are fishing the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. I'm not going to give away any locations, but basically there's a few spots that we usually do well at. This is definitely one of them. So we always like to check this first. A couple more options are to try to fish over the tunnels. As you guys probably know, these fish love structure, so pretty much if you're heading around, just turn your side scan on and try to find your own spots, and you might be amazed. You might find a spot like we did, and nobody else knows about it, you know? And you just sit here and crush fish. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of, I've togged for a long time. I'm no stranger to it, but the more I learn, the more I realize, you know, the more I need to learn, right? So as you can see here, we started to hook up almost immediately, and as you're going to see, this bite on this trip was just phenomenal. I'd say the average size of the fish was probably around 15 to 16 inches was his keeper, but we definitely got a couple of 19s and 20s. You'll see we get our 3-man limit probably in about, I want to say, definitely less than 3 hours. We were on a time limit here anyways, but I think in about 2 hours we had our 12 fish. A quick note here, and I'm only going to say it once. I have my GoPro on wide view or super view or whatever it's called, and not only is it kind of not a great viewport, but it actually makes the fish look a little smaller than they really are. So don't, you know, judge. We definitely don't keep short fish. We threw a couple back that were borderline. So yeah, no poaching here for sure. Another thing worth mentioning is I've been fishing the jig a lot more lately when possible. So when we first got to this spot, you can see we have our anchor line wrapped around the lead piling here, and you know, the current is just not really pushing that hard. It was kind of a fortunate you know, circumstance here, coincidence, that a happy accident that we got here at the time we did, because we were just crushing the fish. I was able to use a 3/4 ounce jig that I moved back up to a 2-ounce jig, and as you can see here, we're just pretty much annihilating fish. I had the GoPro pointed on me. Again, this is not the greatest point of view. Wearing a GoPro on my head, you know, it's not the most comfortable thing, and the batteries run out really quickly. This way I can keep it plugged in, and I can kind of get a decent view of the boat. But I think from now on I'm going to be just dealing with it, putting it back in my head, and getting a better first-person view. It's a lot better. But yeah, fishing the jig, it's been great. Everyone keeps raving about it. I figured, let me get in on the action, so I grabbed a light action spinning rod, threw one on there, and it definitely takes a little getting used to. My least favorite thing is that it takes forever to get to the bottom, but once it's on the bottom, you get snagged less, you feel the bites better. The fish seem to be less shy, so when they hit your jig, they're hitting it, and you know they're hitting it, and when they've actually got it in their mouth, you can set the hook. With a rig, you're kind of feeling a little disconnected. You just have to get a feel for it, and when it's when you get that definitive tug, that's when you set the hook. With the jig, it's more like you can tell when they're playing with it, and just like everybody says, when they start swimming away with it, you know it's in their mouth. You just let it rip, and half the time you get it, and the other half you might miss. But yeah, you can see here Aaron, he just threw down in the same spot that Martin was in, and these fish are kind of lined right up along the piling set here, and you can see me with my short butt rod. I keep on flubbing it, but yeah, the fish were lined up right along the pilings. I'm kind of you know, taking the outskirts here, but I was still getting plenty of fish. You'll see later in the video. Aaron was just annihilating fish. It's funny because we had gone out a couple days before and really not done very well. You know, we found the fish, couldn't get them to hit, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So you might have heard earlier in the video, you know, I said, "You ready for redemption?" And he said, "Oh yeah," you know, and he got it because he landed, I think, the 3 biggest fish. So yeah, yeah, we were pretty much fishing shoulder to shoulder, which I prefer to. I'm no expert, you know, but I prefer to fish all in the same spot, you know, because if you're fishing with people you trust, you know you're not going to get tangled up. And if you do, no big deal. You just deal with it, right? But the good thing is that I feel like the bite will build in one spot. It's not like, oh, the back of the boat, you know, is catching fish, the front of the boat's not. You know, the fish will congregate to where the bait's at, and if the bait's all in one spot, I feel like you can really get them going. It's almost like a built-in chum mechanism. So that's my personal opinion. Love to know what anybody else thinks. Yeah, so I always ask people, hey, you know, don't be shy, come on up here, you know, like, let's fish together. Yeah, you can see here, I think, yeah, I switched to my bait caster, which has 5 or 6 ounce on there. The current was a little too much. I was starting to scope out a little too far. You can see I missed a couple of hits, and this fish kept coming back. I finally got him, and I think it was a pretty decent one. Can't really remember. I must have caught, 10, 11, 12 tog within 2 or 3 hours. I mean, it was basically nonstop. It was almost the perfect tog trip for what we usually do. Yeah, we had been, you know, seeing some fish at First Island, Second Island recently, but we decided to try this first, and I'm glad we did, because as you can see, we really capitalized. No need to move around. Yeah, and under the impression that the striped togs are the female togs. So, yeah, I think this is the first fish Aaron pulled in that was a really nice one. I think when he measured it, I think he said 21, I think it was. And you can see it definitely looks bigger on camera, but in person, this was a phenomenal fish. It's just big. And my video editing kind of sucked here, but you can see it looks like Aaron pulled in one fish, and then he's pulling another one, almost the same fish, but it's actually 2 different fish. The second one being a little bit bigger. I did a real quick cut scene here. He just all of a sudden it turned on back there, and he was just pulling fish in. I think he got like 3-4 keepers in like 20 minutes or something like that. So yeah, I think almost at this point, I think Aaron said he got his 4. Martin said, "Oh, that was my 4," and I think I had gotten 2 up to this point, or 3. I think it doesn't matter. 2 or 3. We were kind of on the clock because like Martin had to go. The current was really ripping here. You can see it gets like that. You know, within maybe an hour. You know, you have about an hour of kind of slack, and then an hour of starting to move, and then after that, it's just really going. So. The boat's really bobbing around. I mean, my GoPro has stabilization, but yeah, noob moment here. But yeah, you know, the current kind of picked up a lot. So you'll see here in a couple of minutes, the boat was getting a lot more close to the pilings. It was becoming kind of a pain in the butt to fish. So we were kind of happy to be done quickly. Because at this point, because you cannot moor to the bridge, if we wanted to stay here, we would have had to drop way back and fished the back piling, which is okay, but from this particular piling set, we kind of know where the structure's at, and it's right around where we're fishing. Not quite. Actually, we we kind of talked about it. We didn't actually get right on the money here where we usually find them, but I think there's so many there right now that yeah, we were happy with what we got, obviously. So. Yeah, just a great time. But it did highlight some things for me personally. You know, I feel like I don't really have a perfect tog setup. I'm kind of using a cheap rod here. Penn Squadron, which works, but it's just not meant for this. The butts on these rods should really be like that. You see that? As soon as you set the hook, the butt will kind of naturally present itself right underneath your armpit or your gut, whichever way you fish. But yeah, quick tip about how we anchor here. We don't really anchor. We actually, and like I said, you cannot moor, so you cannot throw your rope around the piling and tie it to your boat on both ends. That's illegal, and you will get a ticket for it. But what we do here is we anchor, we throw it down on one side, let it float back, and then we wrap it around the piling set. And I've confirmed with Coast Guard that is legal, and never gotten a ticket doing like this, and never had an issue. So it's a good tip for you guys that helped me out a lot. So I believe this may have been the last. No, this was not. This is my last keeper. I think Aaron's possibly about to catch the last one. I don't know. In any case, we had 12 by the end of the trip. And they were all decent, so we were pretty happy. We're not fishing offshore, we're fishing inshore, obviously. And yeah, I see Aaron's having to push off at this point. Catch fish and push off. I think I'm about ready to pack it in here because I'm not comfortable being super close to the pilings here. So he's still fishing. But yeah, I really enjoyed this fishing trip. Togging is probably my second favorite, first being cobia, to be honest. But it's great that this time of year, in the cold weather, you can still have a great time fishing this great fishery. I'm definitely going to be making more videos. We can see we're pulling the boat out here, and I'm going this weekend. Try some new things. I did upgrade recently. I have a 9-inch Garmin, kind of an older unit. I did upgrade recently. I haven't not installed it yet, but I have an Ultra 12-inch 126 Echo Map or whatever it's called, and super stoked to put that on the boat and see what we can see with side scan. And just really interested in kind of making some videos, sharing some knowledge, and just having a good time. So if anybody wants to reach out that's in the area, let me know. We're always looking for more people to fish with and to share some knowledge with. All right, guys, that's it for this one. I'll see you next time.